Have you seen any healings that have been, for yourself, like personal, firsthand, any healings either with you or with somebody you're watching of a physical ailment? For example, like we were talking about before, the finger thing, an amputee, a death resurrection, I mean, anything like that.
I do know, I didn't actually see it as it happened, but a friend of mine's mother, my mother's friend, was a Christian Science practitioner, and her sister passed away and was resurrected by the sister. And I saw the sister afterwards, but I wasn't there to see the actual situation.
And are there reports of other resurrections and things like that come in here? And I guess my hesitation is the fact that if there were resurrections happening, people might be more aware of it. It'd be in the media, it'd be recognized by scientists. I figure every doctor, if they knew that they could resurrect somebody, they would do that, and they would become Christian Scientist practitioners, and they would no longer be medical professionals, but church employees.
Yeah. Several things to that effect. One is, it's not an everyday occurrence, so it's not like it's happening all the time. Two, Christian Scientists tend to be very quiet and private about things, and so when there has been, in fact, when you're working through a physical problem, you tend not to make it terribly well known again, not to bring down the whole thought about things. So they just don't tend to be well known. And again, we have this 125 years of healings in the San Juaninos, and there are written healings in there about raising from the dead, as well as an infinite variety of other things. But we don't tend to put them out there, and so people don't tend to pick up on them.
Isn't that what the religion wants to do, is put itself out there and try and get people to see that they can do this? I mean, you don't want to keep it all to yourself, all the resurrections to yourself, right? I mean, if I were a Christian Scientist practitioner and I were able to resurrect somebody from the dead, I would be at hospitals, I would be resurrecting people right there, I would be doing all these healing, and I wouldn't be, basically charging when people call up. I'd be going out and doing all this stuff, not because I can do it, but like you said, through the power of God.
Yeah, exactly.
But it would be to help my fellow man.
Right.
And there's never been a record of anything like that, like somebody in a hospital, for instance, being recorded as dead and then having prayers bring them back to life, or any, like I was talking about before, regeneration of limbs or anything like that.
Right.
And it just seems like that would be something that would be really prevalent.
Yeah. And you're right, I don't even really know why it's not so prevalent, although practitioners are going in hospitals. In fact, you've reminded me of when I was teaching in the mountains, that one of our students in the middle of the night rammed the car into a tree and wasn't supposed to live through the night even, and his parents were off in Europe, so they weren't even around to help, and he was in hospital, and he was in the hospital, this was years and years ago, so I don't remember all the details, but he was in the hospital for easily a month or two. And his parents came home fairly quickly, and they were Christian Scientists, and there was prayer going on all the time. And they worked it all through. For one thing, he lived through the night, then there was all this surgery, and he wasn't supposed to walk, wasn't supposed to do this, that, and the other thing, was going to be in an iron lung forever. And all of those were met, ultimately. So that kind of thing actually does happen. And again, it's just, we don't stand on the corner hollering and screaming about it. We do, and practitioners are in the practice of Christian Science full time, so that is how they live. They do need and deserve to be paid just like doctors or anyone else.
If you personally lost a finger, your thumb fell off today,
right?
And you knew for a fact that there was a Christian Scientist practitioner 1 mile away that you could see, and there was also an emergency room 1 mile away where they could reattach your thumb. Which one would you go to?
That's a very good question, and I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I would have to be in the situation to know for sure. My first thought would be my own prayer, dealing with it right away. Fear sometimes gets in the way of prayer, and it takes over your thinking. And so the fear would be what would lead me one way or the other, probably, unless I was really feeling confident that, yes, this is a healing happening. And then I would probably call the practitioner first, and then see if I was feeling like this isn't working and I needed something more immediate. I'd potentially go to the emergency hospital.